because you misread the question. So next time, please be alert and write the question the way it is. Now, this question was also failed, which was asking for the highest common factor. There is someone who failed totally. Remember that we agreed that when we are finding the highest common factor, you stop when you stop from here, where you get one number. For the highest factor, whichever number that you divide from here, must be able to go through. It must be divisible by 9, it must be divisible by 15, and it must be divisible by 18. So in this case, when you reach here, you have 3, you have 5, and you have 6. There is no other number which can be divisible by 3, 5, and 9. It is not there. So that is where you had to do what? That is where you had to stop. That's where you had to stop. So my highest common factor, I first put in 2. I got 54. I got 90. And I got 108. I put in 2 again because it can be divisible through all this. I got 27. 90 divided by 2, it is 45. 108 divided by 2, it is 54. So 2 cannot go in for all these numbers. I now put in 3 by 3. I get 9, I get 15, I get 18. 3 can still go in for all these numbers, and by 3, I get 9, I get 15. Now by 3, I get 3, I get 5, and I get 6. Then this question also was failed by most of you. The answer is supposed to be 42. We are looking for the highest common factor, and we begin. But what I realized is most of you are doing this with your head. You are not using a calculator. This is not primary where we tell you not to use a calculator. Feel free to use your calculator to get accurate answers. Feel free to use your calculator and get accurate answers. So 210 divided by 2, the answer is 105. Then 294 divided by 2, the answer is 147. Then 336 divided by 2, the answer is 168. The answer is 168. So 2 cannot go in again because of 105 and 107, which are not divisible by 2. What should I do now? I now put in 3, and it goes in comfortably. By 3, I get 35. By 3, I get 49. And by 3, I get 56. Now, 3 cannot go in again because of 35. Then 49, 3 cannot go in. Now I got 5. 5 cannot go in for all these numbers, because there is 49 and 56. But 7 can go in, and this is where we had to stop. And when we multiply, we get 42. So these questions of LCM and highest common factor, they are very simple. I want to thank those who got all the marks, 21 out of 21. Keep it up. And those who were neat. Those who were neat. There are those who write as if they are using their feet. try to style up. You see here when you are supposed to be having neat work. For me, where I am here, I don't have a ruler, so I just use my pen and hands like that. You have to be neater than me. For LCM, I'm repeating for those people who were absent just very fast. For LCM, you have to divide until you get 1, 1. And what you have to note on LCM is that when you put in 2, for example, by 2 here, if a number is not divisible by 2, you write the number the way it is. If a number is not divisible by 2, you write it the way it is. For example, by 2, 36 is divisible by 2, I get 18. Now, 45 is not divisible by 2, so I just write 45 the way it is. Now, 2 can go in for 18, so I divide through by 2. By 2, I get 9. Then by 2, it is not divisible by 45, so I again write 45 the way it is. Now, 2 cannot go in again for any of these numbers. That's why I got 3. By 3, I get 3 for 9, and by 3, I get 15 for 45. Now, 3 can still go in. By 3, I get 1. By 3, I get 5. Now, 3 cannot go in for these two here. So what will I do? If 3 cannot go in for these 2, I now put in 5, and this by 5 here, it is 1 already, and by 5 it is 1. So LCM, you stop when you get 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. That's where you stop for LCM, and you start multiplying all these, and clearly my answer there was 180. So I will send you these corrections for those of you who failed, but I advise you to be more careful and serious next time. I want us to look at something new today. And yes, here we are. So now you can get out your book and write what you feel is important to you. Word problems involving LCM. Word problems involving LCM. I will send you the notes the way they are. So for you, you just pay attention, and maybe you write the example somewhere, but I will still send you the notes. Just understand the concept. That's what I want from you. Just understand the concept. So, problems involving LCM and highest common factor, it means a question can come when it is in word problems, like that question. And you are required to use your knowledge and find out whether it is highest common factor or LCM that should apply to that question. For example, the question is here. It says 2 wires with length of 42 centimeters and 60 centimeters are to be cut into pieces of equal length without remainder. You have 2 wires of 42 and 60 centimeters. These 2 wires are going to be cut into smaller pieces. You don't know the length of those pieces. Are you getting me? Yes, you should be getting me. You have 2 wires. One wire is 42 centimeters and another wire is 60 centimeters. Now you want to cut these 2 wires. Into 2 length, where one length is okay. You have 2 wires of 42 and 60. Then you want to cut these wires into small pieces of equal length without a remainder. This word equal means the length you get from the wire of 42 should be equal to the length you get from the wire of 60 centimeters. So the question goes, find the longest possible length of the pieces. Now, when you look at the word longest and you look at highest common factor and LCM, which of these two, you start thinking now, which of these two do you think is going to fit in? Me, I think highest goes with longest. Highest goes with longest. Find the longest possible length of the pieces. So we want the length which is going to be equal for the wire that is got from the other one of 42 centimeters and the one of 60 centimeters. So the longest possible length that can be got from these two wires, members, it is the same as you finding the the highest common factor. So longest possible length solution is the highest common factor of the length of 42 and 60 centimeters. So when you do that, you will have finished you have understood the concept. So the longest possible length is the highest common factor of the length of 42 and 60. So that's what we mean. There we will have gotten equal length. That's when you get equal length of the wire gotten from 42 and 60. So let us get the highest common factor of this wire of 42 and 60. Highest common factor, like we have been saying, we put in a factor which should be a prime number, and that goes into 42 and 60. And that one is 2. The first prime number is 2. When we put in, it goes in 42 and 60. By 2, I get 21. I hope, please move with my pointer here. By 2, I get 21. And by 2 here, I get 30. So I have 21 and 30. But remember, we are looking for highest common factor. So highest common factor, we look for another prime number which goes in now in 21 and 30, and it is 3. So by 3,
Yes.
I get 7.
7.
By 3, I get
We get 10.
So there is no other prime number that goes in 7 and 10. It is not there. So this is where I end. And my highest common factor is 2 times 3, and the answer is 6. So I conclude and say, therefore, the longest possible length of 2 pieces, the longest possible length of 2 pieces is 6 centimeters. So 6 centimeters can be got from this wire of 42, and it can also be got from this wire of 60. So it's like you try getting length of 1 centimeter and you find out 2 centimeters. You find out if you can get 2 centimeters from 42 and 60. Then you find which one of those ones you have gotten is the longest. That's what the question is asking. So I want to think that you have understood that question. And if you have understood it, let us look at example 2. Pay attention, for after this, there is going to be an assignment. Ask Auntie. So this is our second example. This one I want you to pay maximum attention. It is a common question, but you will be able to pass it. A rectangular plot of land measures 600 centimeters. A rectangular plot of land measures 600 centimeters. Move with my pointer by 240 centimeters. So since this land is rectangular, it means 600 centimeters is the length and 240 is the width. That's what the question means. Like your piece of paper which you are having there. So you have a plot of land which is equivalent to that piece of paper you are having there. Now, this plot, the plot is to be divided into square plots of land of equal size. You have a rectangular plot of land, but you want to divide it into square. You want to divide it into square plots of land. So the question is, find part 1, the length of the largest possible square plot. The length of the largest possible square plot. When you look at this word largest, what comes into your mind? I told you here, this word problem is all about LCM and square root. I mean LCM and highest common factor. Now LCM is lowest. LCM is lowest common multiple, but highest common factor is greatest. Highest common factor is greatest. So when the question says the length of the largest possible square plot, then you should start thinking about the highest common factor. That's what it means. You should start thinking about the highest common factor. So what does that mean? It means that to get the length of the largest possible square plot, we are going to first find the highest common factor of these two. One is length and one is width. So the highest common factor that we get will be the highest possible length, and it will be the highest possible width also. So here we go. You know how we get the highest common factor? We first put in the first prime number which fits in both 600 and 240, and it is 2. So by 2 I get 300, and by 2 I get 120. I hope you are there. I had 600 by 2, I get 300 by 2, I get 120. So by 2, because 2 can still go in for both 300 and 120, by 2 I get 150, and by 2 I get 600. No, 60, not 600. Yes. Now 2 can still go in both 150 and 60. By 2 I get 75. By 2 I get 30. Remember, now we are looking for highest common factor, not LCM. So the number that I put in must be able to go in for both 75 and 30. And here I am putting in 3. 3 goes in for all By 3, I get 25. By 3, get 15. Now I have 25 and 15. Now 3 cannot go in again in 25 and 15. So I put in by 5. By 5, I get 5. And by 5 here, I get 3. So my highest common factor means I have to multiply these numbers 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. Can you help me confirm from your calculator there? 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. Does it give you 120?
120.
Yes. So 120 is the longest possible length which we can get from the square plot. Now the question is number one, the part one, the question is done. The length of the largest possible square plot is 120. So we now go to part two. The number of plots that can be got from the rectangular plot. To get the number of plots now that can be got, remember the length that we have gotten now is for the square plot. And for a square, length is equal to width. So if I have the length of 120, it means even the width is 120. So area of square plot is 120 times 120. So the number of plots will mean that you get the number of plots means that you get the area of the rectangular land, okay, and you divide by area of one square plot.
Excuse.
I'm going to allow you to ask questions. First, hold on. So number of plots means you get the area of the rectangular plot and you divide by area of the square plot. Now, area of the rectangular plot is 600 times 240. And help me confirm with your calculator if the answer is this. Yes, it should be. Should be the answer. 144 and 3 zeros. 1,044,000. So this is the area of the rectangular plot. Now, area of the square plot. The square plot, since the length of one square, the length of the largest possible square is 120, then the width is also 120 for a square. Both sides are equal. So area of the square will be 120 times 120, and this is 14,400. So number of plots will be area of the rectangular land divided by area of the square plot, and area of the rectangular land is 144,000 here, and the area of the square plot is 14,400, and when we divide, we get 10 plots. Let me now have the question someone wanted to ask.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes.
When we divide 30 by 3, we get 10.
When we divide
30 by 3, we get 10.
30 by 3.
Yes.
Here.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So this is supposed to be. Let's make this correction. Thank you so much. This one is supposed to be. This is supposed to be 10, eh? Can you correct that? though it does not change the final answer, but let's correct it. This is supposed to be 10. This one here is supposed to be 10. Please change this one to 10, and by 5 this one will become 2. That's the only correction we should make. Thank you so much for that correction and for being attentive. So this is 2 and this is 10, but it does not change the final answer. Another question? Another question, please.
Teacher?
Yes.
Can't we just divide directly, like you say 240 out of 120 times 600 out of 120?
No, you should follow this working. You wanted it, then how will you have gotten 120? It means you still have to go through this, eh? Yeah, then you'll get the answer as long as I will give you the max, as long as you have first shown me that you are getting highest common factor, eh? You get me? So first get the highest common factor, which is 120 here. Then you are free to use that method of yours. You'll still get the same answer, and I will give you the max. Another question?
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes.
Can they also bring the same number in LCM form?
Yes. When you see lowest, for example, in the assignment that I'm going to give you, eh? When you see lowest, you know that now these examples that you have looked at, they have been asking, find the longest possible, find the highest possible. Now, when you see a question saying the smallest, you know that that one is asking for LCM. When you see a question saying for the lowest, you know that that one is asking for LCM. Largest, this one is highest common factor, like that. So our time is up. Maybe if there is a burning question, if it is not there, we shall end our meeting here.